Hey there folks. It's your old pal Peter Griffin, and today, I've got a story that's gonna take you on a wild ride through the world of international economics. Grab some popcorn and get ready to laugh and learn, because we're diving deep into the fascinating world of BRICS. Okay, let's start at the beginning. It's the early 2000s, and there's this group of countries that decided to form a club. No, it's not a club for golf or bowling. It's a club that's all about shaking things up in the world of international relations. These countries were Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. They decided to call themselves BRICS, which is like a cool nickname you give to your squad. So, why did they form this club? Well, it's like when you and your buddies decide to team up for a project at work, or when you and your neighbors decide to throw a block party. You've got more power and influence when you work together, right? That's exactly what BRICS thought. So, why did these countries join forces in the first place? It's not like they were forming a boy band, although BRICS does have a nice ring to it. No, they had some serious goals in mind. Imagine this: you and your pals decide to go on a road trip. You pool your resources, share the driving, and have each other's backs. Well, that's kind of what BRICS wanted to do, but on a global scale. They wanted to tackle big issues like economic development, trade, and political stuff. It's like a team-building retreat, but for countries. They knew that by working together, they could have a bigger impact and solve problems that were affecting their own nations and the world. But here's where the story gets really interesting. The BRICS countries weren't satisfied with just forming a club. No, they had a grand idea: creating their own currency. Hold on to your hats, folks, this is where things get exciting. Imagine it's a bit like a tug-of-war between currencies. On one side, you've got the US dollar, that guy who shows up at every party and thinks he's the coolest. You know the type, the guy who insists on playing the guitar at every gathering, even though no one asked him to. So in one corner you've got the US dollar, strutting around like he owns the place. "Hey, everybody, I'm the US dollar," he shouts, and everyone reluctantly nods because, well, he is kind of the life of the party. But then, in the other corner, you have the BRICS currency, which is like a newcomer trying to find its place at the party. It's like when Quagmire showed up at our poker night for the first time. Everyone was a bit unsure, but they gave him a chance. The US dollar might lose a bit of its cool status because more countries would have an alternative for trade. It's like when Lois starts cooking healthier meals, and suddenly, you can't just eat burgers all the time. Sure, burgers are great, but sometimes you want a salad or some sushi, right? Now, let's talk about what this could mean for the US dollar. It's like the US dollar is the quarterback of the football team, and suddenly, a new player joins the game. The quarterback might still be popular, but he's no longer the only player on the field. The BRICS countries were thinking, hey, we don't want to rely on the US dollar for all our international trade. Let's create our own currency, so we have more options. It's like when you decide to diversify your investments. You don't want to put all your money in one place, you spread it out to reduce risk. So if the BRICS currency becomes a thing, it could put some pressure on the US dollar. It's like a friendly competition between currencies, and the US dollar would have to up its game to stay in the spotlight. But here's the exciting part: from the BRICS countries' perspective, this could be a game changer. They'd have more options for trade, and they wouldn't be as dependent on the US dollar. It's like when you discover a new restaurant in town that serves amazing food. Suddenly, you have more choices for dining out, and you're not stuck eating at the same old place all the time. For BRICS, it's like they're saying, hey, we're not just going to follow the crowd, we're going to carve our own path. It's like when Brian decided to write a novel instead of doing the same old newspaper columns. He took a chance, and it paid off. Now let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture. If BRICS succeeds in creating their own currency and it gains popularity, it could have a ripple effect on the global economy. It's like throwing a stone into a pond. You create ripples that spread out in all directions. Other countries might start thinking, hey, if BRICS can do it, maybe we can too. It's like when you see someone doing something bold and inspiring, it motivates you to take action too. And that's where our story leaves off for now. The BRICS countries are on a mission to create their own currency, and the world is watching to see what happens next. So there you have it, folks. BRICS, a group of countries with a plan to create their own currency, possibly shaking things up for the US dollar. It's like a global economic roller coaster, and who doesn't love a good roller coaster ride? Thanks for joining me on this journey, and remember, even when talking about international finance, there's always room for a laugh. See you next time.